In the Subgrade Model Manager environment, you may notice that we have a yellow dashed line. Now, if you try and left click on this yellow dashed line on either side of the design here, you'll notice that we can't select it. This is called a surface resolve, and it's essentially a batter from a particular code to connect the design onto a particular surface. Now, to show you this in practice and why it's there, we'll open up a cross-section window, and we can do that through the Subgrade Model Manager. Any one of the sectional break lines, if you left click on any element and then immediately right click, you can display a cross section at that particular spot. So we'll bring this view into play in the middle of the screen here, just make it slightly larger. Now we can display our subgrade surface in this particular view, and to do that we can go to the Display tab, go to the Show Other Objects button, and all we do is we click on Add. The string name, well, you can either choose your particular road or pick all, it doesn't matter. We're going to pick Surface from the list, and then we're going to go ahead and pick our subgrade surface, which is beginning with SUB, and all we do is click OK. We won't see a great deal of change in the cross-section view here because the subgrade surface is following the bottom of our cross-section, so the two are overlapping, which means we can only see it where there are some stark differences, such as this location here and this location here. So rather than having the surface connect from the bottom of the kerb subgrade here to the footpath subgrade all the way across, we apply a resolve here from the kerb subgrade up to total model or the design, meaning that you get this neat connection. So let's have a look at this in the Subgrade Model Manager. We'll just minimize the cross-section view. So I know that the resolve is coming from this linear break line. They can only be applied to linear break lines. So this is the linear break line at the back of my kerb subgrade. And when we left click on that, you'll see that we have a resolve to surface being checked on. So if I uncheck that and click apply, what we should see is the triangulation of the surface now connecting from the kerb subgrade to the footpath subgrade without that resolve. If we check it back on, you can see underneath that we've got a resolve to surface in a cut situation and a fill situation, and the resolve is basically battering to total model at 1 to 1000, very, very steep. So we click apply, and that's what we were seeing in the cross-section window. So you can choose to apply this on any linear break line that you want. To see this a little bit further, what we can do is use it at the extents of our model. So what we may find is that if we're looking for something such as a volume comparison, we would like to have this subgrade surface connecting back to the surface that it's going to be compared against. Maybe we would compare this to the natural at some point. So what we'd like to have is this surface, rather than just terminating effectively in fresh air, we would like the surface to terminate at the natural surface. So what we can do is left click on the linear break line at the top of the footpath here, and over on the left hand side we can check resolve to surface, and you can see here by default we're resolving to the natural. We could choose any surface we want. Let's click apply. If you have no surface there, i.e. if there is no natural over this particular area, it will connect where it sees it. If it doesn't, then there will be no connection. You may find that you've got resolves connecting across each other just simply because of the fact there's nothing for it to resolve to. So you can see there that the resolve has been applied, meaning that we now have a connection between our subgrade surface on this side of the road and the natural. We can take this one step further. If we uncheck resolve to surface and click apply, you can see how that removes the resolve. If you want to, you can add a user break line, which effectively allows you to form your own code of your choice, offset of your slope and distance from the extent of your design. In fact, you can add this wherever you want within your design. So to show you how this works, we'll click on User Breaklines. We're going to click on Add User Breakline, and we're going to provide a code. This is not necessary. We will by default just pop in code 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. But I'm going to put ease for easement in here. We can choose the extent of this user break line. Then we can then say the slope type for this break line. So we may say, well, it's got to be a fixed value of 1%. If we were to choose from section, it would take the section slope of the footpath as it is right now, which is 2%, and project that for us instead. We'll go fixed value, 1%. And then we're going to have a fixed value, an offset of 3 meters. If you're going to the left side of your design, you would need to put a minus value in here. Let's click OK. By adding that user break line in, we've extended our subgrade surface. Now, when we left click on that user break line, which is in blue, we can see using the linear break line editor on the left hand side here how that has been set up. You can see there's our code, there is our parent, which is a user. We can now resolve to surface. So I click on resolve to surface, and instead of resolving to the design, because that doesn't exist out there, we're going to be picking the NS and click apply. So you can see there we've now created a user break line and then used a resolve to connect us back